Welcome to the 63rd episode of the series Decolonizing the Mind. Today I will talk about two topics. A short one on what happens in Palestine, obviously, as an ongoing genocide. And the main topic is the US presidential elections. Now, if you look at what's going on now in Palestine, there's a dangerous situation developing. There's a threat of nuclear war openly uttered by Israel. The media are citing sources that the United States have warned Iran that it would not be able to keep Israel from responding in event of a strike from Tehran. So the Israelis, the Minister of Defense, or better as Mohammad Marandi puts it, the Minister of Genocide, is warning its own people that they might, they don't say openly a nuclear strike, but they clearly allude to the fact that they are willing and able and prepared to do a nuclear strike on Iran in order to deter them from responding to the latest attack of Israel on Iran. And you see the reaction in Iran is broad. Kamal Khazari, an advisor to the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, he said, "We have no decision to build a nuclear bomb because of the fatwa that Khamenei had posed years ago. But should Iran's existence be threatened, there will be no choice but to change our military doctrine." Iran may be weeks away. They have everything in place to produce a nuclear bomb. But the fatwa prohibits that. So what Kharazi is saying, in case of an existential threat, they might produce a nuclear bomb and use it if one is being used on Iran. So the deterrence that the Americans and the Israelis put forward by saying, if you attack us as a retaliation of our attack, then we will respond. And you see that the United States is preparing for World War III. The Pentagon said that the US has sent a destroyer, bombers, and fighters to the Middle East, to Western Asia, and these forces will begin arriving in the region in the coming months, while the Carrier Strike Group, led by aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln, prepares to depart from the US. They put strategic bombers from an Air Force base, and these bombers obviously will be used against Iran. Now, you have to see how the US elections and the genocide in Palestine and war of liberation in Palestine are connected. The US is a declining imperial power, economically, politically, military, and even socially. If you look at the big demographic changes taking place in the United States, where especially the Latino population is growing rapidly, in a few decades, whites with a Eurocentric background will be a minority in the US. So socially, there's a lot of going on, but obviously politically, economically, and military, we see the decline all over. And the response to that decline of the ruling class in the United States is divided. The Democrats and parts of the Republicans, they think that by keeping the military domination in world politics, the US will be able to regain its imperial power. While a section supporting Trump says that we need to have economic domination and isolationism, meaning making America great again economically, not militarily. And that policy is basically a policy of acceptance of the military declining military power of the US, while the Democrats and part of the Republicans don't accept that decline. And you see that there's a big fight going on in the media where a lot of the media, especially the liberal media, is supporting Harris, posing her as a candidate for democracy, and Trump as a fascist. Trump is a racist and Harris is anti-racist. But on Israel, they have no difference. There are differences on Ukraine. And in supporting Israel, there's no difference. But there is a slight difference between Trump and Harris regarding Palestine. Trump basically wants to end the war in Ukraine, in Palestine. He doesn't want military involvement of the US. He wants to quit NATO, and he's even prepared, as he recently said, to go to Iran to start negotiations. I'm not sure that the Iranians will welcome him because he was responsible for the assassination of the popular general Soleimani. So I don't think there's anybody in Iran happy to receive him. But anyway, that saying that means that he basically is looking for a way out of war. But at the same time, internally, he's clearly a racist, a bigot, and the choice for the Americans now is fascism of Trump or liberalism of Harris. It's not the choice between fascism or socialism, between fascism or something better. And the old leftist strategy was that liberals, every anti-fascist force should be supported, so support liberalism against fascism. But the effect of your vote would be just vote for one or the other rattlesnake. It doesn't matter for people outside the US. But in the US, there are candidates from the left, Jill Stein's Green Party and Cornel West as an independent. So if you want to put a protest voice against the system and you're in the United States, you could vote for these parties. But for the world, this choice of either Trump or Biden or Harris is a false choice. We don't have to choose between them. We don't have to say the one is better and the other is worse. We must prepare for the worst, which is World War III. And in that preparation, we don't just be passive onlookers that utter the support for the one snake or the other snake. We need to get involved in social movements in the global north. These social movements should be connected with anti-imperialist governments in the global south, because these governments are in the forefront of the fight against US imperialism. And often in social movements in the global north tend to be in solidarity with Palestine, but are scary to get involved with the anti-imperialist government in the global south, Iran, China, Venezuela, Russia. And I think that's the weakness of the social movement. Now, what happens if Harris wins? We'll just get a continuation of what we see now with in foreign policy with Biden. So the drive towards World War III will still be there. But civil war is on the horizon if Harris wins and pro-Trump supporters engage in violent confrontation. That could mean a prolonged period of social, economic, and political instability, which is bad for the US but good for the world because it weakens US imperialism. What happens if Trump's win? I think then the drive towards World War III would be lessened. Although he's so erratic in his behavior that he could easily change. But he would want to end the support for Ukraine, both the financial and military support, and he might not want to extend the war in Palestine. So we'll have to see how that goes. He's a strong supporter of Israel, but at the same time, he wants to withdraw from Western Asia to focus on rebuilding America. But if he is there, you will see an exacerbation of racial tensions. You'll see the extreme right agenda regarding immigrants that will soar up. And if he goes into withdrawing from the threat of World War III, he might even be assassinated by the military-industrial complex. But whatever happens in the US, the world will move on. And when we talk about the world, we'll see BRICS emerge as a major economic political order with the Shanghai Cooperation System as a military component. And we need to get involved in building a worldwide anti-imperialist movement. The United States elections might have consequences for the United States, but for the rest of the world, life goes on until it stops. Now, I want to remind you of the DTM Summer School on Reparations that we are holding next year in July 14 to 19 in the Caribbean island of Curacao. Go to www.today for more information. If you want to read more about my analysis in the book Decolonizing the Mind, look at the index on the word Palestine. And if you want to support the DTM channel, subscribe to it, share it with friends, families, and colleagues, and encourage them to subscribe. Get involved in discussion groups or make a donation if you want through sandohira.com. So I hope to see you next week.